Salutations everyone, welcome to What Mattered. Allergy warning, this show contains peanuts. In the first bit of news, we have some Xbox One updates hit this week. A couple of minor tweaks that really are mainly trying to get the Xbox One to be more like the 360 in that they didn't add things that they should have, such as telling you when your friends have signed in, or giving you a progress bar instead of just a circle thing when you're downloading stuff. That's all well and good. Also, there's some supposed improvements to the Kinect, so your non-hand gestures aren't picked up by mistake as much. I don't know about you guys, but I've dealt with this quite a few times, and I wish there was just like a way to turn the camera off or a slider that you can put in front of it. I think there was a slider on the original Kinect, but I just have to drape a cloth over it when I'm watching Netflix so the thing doesn't just keep on popping up. But I don't know if it's hit or not. For me personally, it sounds like it's supposed to already be out, but I haven't really seen those improvements. Also, it's supposedly supposed to power cycle by itself when it's in standby or overnight mode, so you don't have to manually do a lot of stuff. Also, some Blu-ray 50 gigahertz support, and some like wireless headset connectivity improvements. So all well and good. You know, there's a lot of improvements that needed to be made from this thing right out of the box, and looks like they're finishing up those improvements that they need to make. But alas, no sign of HBO Go yet. We're just gonna have to wait some longer. In a big splash this week, Marty ODonnell was fired from Bungie. He released in a tweet that he was fired without cause, so we really don't know what's happening here. This is still a developing story. Bungie says that it was mutual. Obviously, Marty feels differently, so that sounds a little bit more credible. They've said that his music work done on Destiny will stay in the game. The audio and the soundtrack to the game won't push back the development, so everything is going to be on track as far as Destiny goes, which was the last project Marty and Bungie have been working on. He's been with Bungie since the beginning with Halo 1 and gave us some of the most iconic soundtracks of the past generation of gaming, including just some of the best of all time. And it's really weird to see someone who is one of the best, if not arguably the best in his profession, to get fired, or if not even fired, let go. How do you let someone like this go? A lot of people are like hoping that like 343 picks him up so he can get back to working on composing music for Halo. But this is a really, really weird story to see, easily the most famous video game music producer in the past 20 years to no longer be affiliated with the company that he made really famous with his amazing soundtrack. So hopefully we get things cleared up, but it sounds like there's a little bit of drama going on. The latest and probably final DLC for The Last of Us details were released by Naughty Dog. The DLC will be called Grounded, of course free to all those who got the season pass, or you can piecemeal it by whatever portions that you want. It comes with a new difficulty mode to make the game even harder, new maps, a couple of different weapon survival pack bundles for multiplayer. So it sounds like it's mostly multiplayer, or if you just want to play the game on an even hard difficult setting, you can get that. So all the piecemeals, I think it adds to like $29 if you buy everything separately. But obviously, most of the people are going to be having the season passes. If not, you could just buy what you want to use, which is, some people think that it's kind of like chintzing the whole idea of DLC and try to, get all the dollars out of it. But on the other hand, you're only paying for what you want. So kind of a double-edged sword there, really. But, for the season pass people, they get everything that they want out of it. This is probably going to be the last DLC for The Last of Us, and the, recently announced Last of Us Remastered Edition for the PlayStation 4 will include this and all other previous DLCs on the disc. So, if you haven't gotten the game yet and you have a PS4, might as well just wait for that. Just play it on the PS4. Fox has nabbed the rights to another Mark Millar comic book to have a film adaptation. He was the guy who did Wanted and Kick-Ass and Kick-Ass 2 and Secret Service, which is coming out this year. Many of you might not have heard of it. I actually didn't either until I looked it up. But, I mean, everything this guy, all the comics that this dude writes by him for, his own original products. He's done a lot of miniseries and things with other properties, but his own original, franchises have they're always picked up. And Matthew Vaughn has done all of them, I think. No, he didn't do Wanted. He did not do Wanted, but he did the 2 Kick-Asses. He's doing Secret Service, and he is also doing this new comic, which is called Superior. It's a superhero. It's a sick kid who gets a wish granted by a magical monkey, and he becomes a superhero. I don't know. I haven't read it, in all honesty, but I mean, if Fox and Vaughn think it's good enough to be a movie, I mean, you can't really argue with them. They've had lots of success in the past. Wanted, I feel, wasn't very good and was far from a true adaptation to the actual graphic novel. First Kick-Ass was good. I thought the second one wasn't really necessary. We'll see about Secret Service this year. So yeah, no release date for that yet, but I mean, it's a formula that's worked in the past before, so I would not be surprised if this thing got to the big screen on the fast track. And speaking of superhero movies, there is the rumor of Channing Tatum possibly being involved in a Gambit solo film. Now, there's a lot of problem with this. First of all, Channing Tatum, while I'm sure he's a great guy, I don't think he's a very good actor, especially as a lead role. I am more than willing to be proven wrong. Hopefully we'll see some sort of progress in this year's Jupiter Ascending, but I don't think he's a very strong actor, especially for a lead. He doesn't look like a Gambit. He won't have a good accent for a Gambit who has, the Raging Cajun, so obviously he's going to have to change up his voice a little bit. However, there's producers that want him to be Gambit, and he wants to be Gambit. It's his favorite X-Men, which is a tragedy because he's also my favorite X-Men. I don't know what it is about Gambit that makes him so awesome, but I think it'd be very, very difficult to make a solo movie starring Gambit. It can be done in print, so you can pretty much do whatever character you want in comic books and get a good solo story out of that. But making a solo adaptation on a big screen with a non-major developed character who's had a lot of successful lone storylines is a very, very tall task, and not one that we have yet to see accomplished on the big screen. I mean, there's a lot of characters that I like, but I think wouldn't be strong enough to hold up an entire movie on their lonesome, and I think Gambit is one of them. More than willing to be proven wrong, especially since I like Gambit so much, but Channing Tatum, please no. And as far as all-time box office numbers go, we have a new king of all-time gross franchise movies in the box office history, and it's the Marvel Universe franchise, thanks to Captain America Winter Soldier, with its big debut and holding through for a couple of other strong weeks, pushed it past Harry Potter. They do have one more movie than Harry Potter, so that was, obviously important to getting that done, but it's a huge accomplishment. This starts from the first Iron Man, so anything before the first Iron Man doesn't count. This is the Avengers new Marvel cinematic universe that they created with Iron Man and then the Incredible Hulk and the Thors and the Captain Americas and Avengers and so on. So obviously that's going to continue to grow with, Age of Ultron and Ant-Man and whatever they're going to make after that. For those of you who might not know, Spider-Man is not included in this. He's owned by Sony. He is actually on the top 10 list by himself. I think it's he's number 9 or 7. I think he's number 7 all time in box office gross. Batman by himself, I think, is number 5, but that includes all of the Batman films. So, big props to Marvel, but, I think this list is going to be ever changing for the next 5 years or so. Because, number 3 all time, Star Wars, is getting another movie, which is going to make a crap ton of dollars, not too long from now. So that might challenge Harry Potter, but then Harry Potter's coming out with 3 more movies with their new, spin-off thing that I mentioned 2 weeks ago. So that'll be interesting. James Bond is the one up there with the most films, 24, I believe. That gives him number 4 spot. And we have yet to see what else is going to be coming up from that. So I think this list is going to be ever-changing, but it just seems like the top 3 are just going to get further and further away from the pack. But, with inflation and yada, yada, yada. Whatever. Good news for comic book fans and just awesome franchise fans everywhere, because with the exception of Twilight, I think all of the franchises on the top 10 list have at least 1 or 2 good movies to their credit. So, that's always good to see. Thank you guys for watching this week. Be sure to leave comments on any of the stories that I mentioned below in the description. We'll have the links to all those stories as always. And I hope to see you guys next week for another episode of What Mattered, and I will see you then.